God Mode is a horde shooter, I think. I'm not entirely sure what to classify this game as. It's developed by a company called Old School Games, and supposedly Saber Interactive as well, but I don't think that's true. I can't find anything on that. Okay, enough of this intro, I'm just going to show you the game. The first thing you will hear when you start the game is this.
Oh, hello! Welcome to Hades. That's hell in a toga. I'm your spirit guide, and I'm here to help your worthless corpse navigate the underworld. So listen to me and you might just survive.
I don't know who this is, but they're pretty annoying and I don't like them. You hear them all the time in-game and they're always yapping about something. Now, you can play this game solo or online, but I hate to break it to you, no one's playing this online. This is a game from 2013, and on top of this, the game has been delisted quite some time ago actually. Why it was removed, I have no idea. My guess is the company just went under or something, but there's no way to tell. There's almost nothing on Old School Games at all. Enough about that though, let's do what every player would do when they first got this game, and that's just play a match. I recommend the bronze difficulty, a little more on that later. There's only a handful of maps, but each one starts with a randomized intro story about how I guess you died.
You knew those super skinny jeans were 3 sizes too small, but you had to try them on, or rather force them on.
I don't know if I believe the announcer though, it certainly doesn't look like that's how I died. But what do I know? The game doesn't give you a tutorial, at least it didn't give me one. It just kinda drops you in here. So I'll give you the basics. And trust me, there's not much to it. You look around with WASD, you shoot with left click and you aim with right click. The only thing that would be considered new to this game is your special ability. It's called a rage meter. When you hit the button, for me it's V, it turns on this little shield thing around you. It's not super great, and also it doesn't work half the time. I have to spam the button to get it to work. Now, you're not going to get far on your first run. The starter weapons aren't the best, at least not without some upgrades. I think I made it to the second area my first run, which isn't very far. So when you inevitably run out of lives, you'll be sent back to the main menu. Here you can buy upgrades and customize your character. If you got enough money to do so, that is. Here's where you can actually buy upgrades. And also replace that not so great starter ability if you want to. But to be honest with you, most of the abilities aren't super great. Like, take this one for example. Survive for a little bit and get some ammo and armor. Not too bad. But in exchange, while it's charging up, you'll die in one hit. Considering most enemies in this game charge you head on, I feel like that's just suicide. Then there's ones that only heal your allies, but since I'm playing alone, that doesn't really help me at all. What I usually do is I use a modifier to turn off abilities. In return, I get a 10% XP boost, which isn't much, but it's something. I'd rather not have to panic spam V to get it to work anyway, so it works out for me. In this menu, you can also buy cosmetics for your character, but they're just that, they're just cosmetic, they don't give you an advantage at all. Except for one pair of pants, oddly enough. These will charge your special ability a little faster, but considering this is like one of the last things you'll unlock, it's gonna be a minute. Anyway, when you're done with this menu, you back out and start a new game. And that's really the whole entire loop of this game. Play a match, hopefully you get to the end, if not, come back to the menu, spend your money, go back into it. And that gameplay loop isn't inherently bad at all. It can just get maybe a little boring after a while. With such limited maps and the loadout of weapons not being particularly well, it just kinda gets boring after a moment. There's only really about 5 maps, and for the most part, they stay the same every time you play them. Some maps even have the same exact enemies spawning at the same exact places. There's just not a whole lot of variety. And every map has the same exact boss at the end too, if you get that far. And most of the bosses are just resized versions of normal enemies with like a slightly different skin on them. The only difference now is that they could pretty much insta-kill you sometimes. I take that back, sometimes, I mean most of the time.
Oh, look at all that blood.
I guess it's so you don't just stand there and hip fire them the entire time, but surely there's a better way to go about it, right? I don't know, I don't make games, I just play them. Also, all the weapons in this game are definitely not created equal. Here's a good example. Would you rather have a sniper rifle where you have to stand still and carefully aim? Or no, I'm not even going to give you a choice. You'd rather have the assault rifle. A lot of the guns are just very questionable in their use. Like this blade launcher. Yeah, it looks cool, but when you use it, you slow down to a crawl. Essentially just letting all the enemies wail on you while you kill one guy. The minigun is a bit better. It still slows you down, but you can at least turn around and shoot the people attacking you. You're still gonna get wailed on though, there's not much you can do about that. Honestly, I found the best weapon combination to be the pump shotgun and the assault rifle. And I wasn't even going for that. I just wanted something a little better than the double barrel and the SMG you start with. Maybe the minigun and other guns like it could work if you had more players, but for just you, it's not happening, I'm afraid. Oh yeah, I never brought up multiplayer in this. I'm going by memories at this point, but I did, at one point, play this game online with someone. I didn't record it just because I didn't think to at the time, but it was just me and one other person, and here's what I gained from it. You don't share XP, and you don't share money. Now this is pretty normal in games like this. Most games in this kind of genre won't do this, but that's usually because they spawn more enemies to make up for it, so you have more chances to get that stuff yourself. However, God Mode doesn't do that. It spawns the exact same amount of enemies you'd fight in single player, essentially just making it harder to get money and XP. I remember I did get a match with 3 players once as well. This memory is even foggier, but I remember it spawning way too many enemies this time. We very easily got overwhelmed and the run didn't last long. It also kept crashing, like a lot. Now this game is pretty old. It's about 12 years old, at least at the making of this video. And I've had to do a number of things to get it working. I don't remember even all I did. I do remember I eventually gave up. And then I came back a month later, just for it to magically be working. What changed between then and now? No idea. Maybe all the patches I put in the game just need to sit there for a moment and like marinate in the code or something. It runs okay for the most part. It automatically fits my 2K monitor, which is genuinely shocking. A lot of games nowadays don't do that. However, it's locked at 30 frames a second. Supposedly, there's a way you can increase the frame rate cap, but I'm not going to risk it. This game is already held together by tape. I just don't think it's a very good idea. Now, normally, I wouldn't really recommend this game. Mainly because it's delisted on everything. And I'm pretty sure it was digital only too. I've heard of there being physical copies out there in the wild, but I can't find any. This game doesn't emulate super well either, so you can't really get it through other means unless you have a modded console. Which I assume most people don't. I also wouldn't recommend it for the performance, which, you know, isn't super great. However, the site IndieGala, which is a trusted, key reseller, I'm not sure if you'd call them that, they still have a few keys for this game. How many? No idea. But it often goes on sale for $2. And for that price, yeah, why not? The only problem is if it doesn't work for you, you're out $2, which isn't so bad, I guess. However, the base price of the game when it's not on sale is $10. And I think that's still an okay-ish price, but you shouldn't have to worry about that. This game's always on sale. Well, that's about all I've got for this video. If you like this video, leave a like. And if you'd like to see more content like this, feel free to subscribe. I really only talk about obscure and forgotten video games. Sometimes I talk about a new thing though, but that's kind of rare. But anyway, that's about it for me. Have a good night.